bit of a break last week from me being ill, as well as booking problems. So guys, it's nice to have you back. Obviously we're back with Jake, Harvey and James.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
We'll be discussing, obviously there wasn't too many games last week, but we'll be discussing what happened and what happened the Saturday gone, as well as the FA Trophy amongst people's fixtures coming up for the teams they are following. So let's start with the conference, or the National League. Sorry guys. I know, sponsorship and everything, I need to make sure
Still not
we
over
don't
it.
cock that up, I know. Right, so let's start with the top of the table, like we usually do. So Salford have now dropped down to 5th. Leyton Orient have dropped off top spot. Yes, they've got a game in hand, but we weren't expecting to see this one, were we, Jake?
Not exactly. Obviously, we're talking about Salford now 5th. Getting shock result like getting beat off bottom of the table Braintree, who in the past have had some choice words to say about Braintree. It's quite a shock for Salford, obviously, to drop down that low, but like I thought to myself, like Salford just need to have a bit of like composure about them now and not panic and feel like they're in a slump of sorts, and just kind of push through this period, and they've got to know that they will get out of this slump and they'll be on good form as soon as possible, really.
Yeah, I think with Solihull as well, they've had went on a bit of a run recently, and it all started with an FA Trophy win. I think it was 3 or 4 games ago. So, yeah, 3 wins in all competitions in a row, but it started off with an FA Trophy win. So does that back up the point that trophy run, like cup runs, can sort of benefit in all other competitions, especially the league, just to get a bit of momentum, Harvey?
Yeah, I think it does, because if you've got a good run in one competition, it's going to carry on the team spirit going in, especially if you keep a standard set of players out, if you don't rest players, and I don't think many National League teams do in the FA Trophy. They might bring a few youngsters in, but overall, having that momentum in more than one competition can help team morale like exponentially. Like, you look at teams like Millwall in the Championship, they're sort of the opposite of that, where they've gone on a good FA Cup run and they've beaten Everton, and you're thinking, right, such a scalp, can that help them in the Championship? And then they go back to playing teams around them and they continue to struggle. But Solihull are just using it full throttle to try and continue their momentum, and obviously had a decent little mini run in the FA Cup. We're just a replay away from playing Arsenal, which would have been big for them, but big financially for them as well. But no, the success in more than one competition can be nothing but good for Solihull at the minute.
Yeah, I know we talk about Salford a lot. I mean, it's just natural on here. But this time it's quite justified, because they have dropped down to 5th after a run of a few results where they could have and should have picked up points, but they just seem to be slipping away a bit now. I don't know how far they will slip. Maybe it's just a bad spurt, but it shows you how tight this league really is up there, with how close it is and how far they've dropped. So James, I mean, conceding in the 95th minute to bottom of the table to lose, how much does that hit their promotion hopes?
It's obviously a blow, because I mean, yeah, I suppose it just doesn't look good on the tin as much as anything else. The fact, obviously, you can look at that result and it looks poor from their perspective, because obviously no disrespect to Braintree because of the respective positions. That is, I mean, in many ways it's a good result looking at the league from the neutral perspective, because it's good to see teams down the bottom showing that they can beat the teams towards the top end. But yeah, I think no wins in 5 in all competitions for them now, looking at it.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
I think they're or thereabouts.
Yeah, 5 games without a win in all competitions.
And yeah, I mean, it does happen for teams at whatever level, and around quite often. Heard a few people saying quite often around this time of year as well, where sort of you've come off Christmas, you're sort of maybe still recovering from injuries, you're almost in a no man's land between. It's not sort of that key Christmas period, and it's not quite the run-in yet, so almost teams don't want to peak necessarily at this sort of point. Not that you don't want to win games, not that you sort of say, oh, we'll lose a few games in like January, February time, but sometimes teams do drop off a bit and then sort of really sort of have that tunnel vision element towards the end of the season, and from there sort of really push on and hit form back end of February, March, and into April and the run-in. But yeah, I think they obviously need to pick up, because they won't want it. They've clearly sort of lost a noticeable amount of momentum. They'll want to they just need a win, basically. It's not sort of, this isn't groundbreaking punditry by any means. Basically they just sort of need, if you get a win, it just frees everyone at the club up, and then you can push on a bit. So it's probably just a case of confidence, momentum dropping, but yeah, sometimes you just need a really scrappy win to sort of push yourself over the line.
I mean, almost ironically, they don't seem to be able to buy a win this season, despite obviously buying a lot of players for expenses, including a 3-0 defeat recently in the FA Trophy to Maidstone. I mean, Maidstone aren't doing great at the moment either. They're in the relegation zone, and I know trophy competitions may not be a priority, but I've looked at the past few fixtures, and Adam really doesn't seem to be able to pick up the form. I know, I'm smiling because we've mentioned them so many times in the past. But without a top goal scorer, that seems to be the problem, to be able to kill off games, isn't it, really, Harvey?
Yeah, I massively agree. Like, if with him being in a dry spell and Salford also being in a bit of a dry spell themselves, it's difficult not to think they're parallel, because you look at teams in and around like the top of the league, like Leyton Orient, obviously still up and around there. They've got Macaulay Bond banging them in every week, helping them get forward. And it's in any division, not just in England, in football. Like, if you've got a prolific striker, which Adam Rooney has been for the majority of this season, you're going to be more successful. But once that striker gets a bit you need other parts of the pitch to contribute in terms of goals, and they haven't really seemed to find that yet. Danny Whitehead is doing alright as the replacement striker, former West Ham youth. He sounded like he was going on like trains to Millwall away, beating people up there. But no, he's doing an okay enough job, but the results aren't really going how they should be for a team that, yes, they've only just come up from the National League North, but they brought in a manager from the Football League. They've got all this money behind them, bringing players in from Scottish First Division, players from the Football League, and you'd expect a better recent run of form than we have seen at the minute from Salford, but still plenty of time left in the season. And I think got to give credit as well with Solihull Moors' rise seems to have been quite parallel to Salford's fall in the last couple of weeks, but credit to Tim Flowers in charge of Solihull. Like, they have no right to be where they are in the division at the minute. They finished 6 points above the relegation zone at the end of last season, and no one expecting to be where they are. And Tim Flowers is one of those managers that, Premier League player, but he didn't automatically get an arrogance and take a job in the Premier League. He was a good Premier League goalkeeper as well, or take a job in the Championship at the higher echelons. He started at the bottom and he's working his way up properly, and if he can take Solihull Moors up, then manager of the season for England for me, if he can do that.
I think that's quite a good show. Also, we haven't discussed Leyton Orient. I mean, Leyton Orient do have a game in hand on them, but Leyton Orient also dropped points drawn away to Hartlepool at the weekend. I'm just wondering, why do you think these teams are dropping, Jake? Do you think it's a sense of maybe complacency at the top, and they don't really realise how tight it is up there?
I feel like sides obviously at the top, of course there's reasons why they're at the top. We've got a strong squad, they've got that sort of winning mentality. Sides can't win every game. Obviously we're seeing their last 5 fixtures, they've lost 2 in the league, and those both back to back. I don't think this draw really affects them, to be honest though. Like, I feel like it's better than them losing the Hartlepool. We've seen Salford lose to Braintree, obviously. So I don't really see this affecting them that much, and I do, if we are going to talk about who is going to get promoted, I still see Leyton Orient getting promoted. I see this as just a little blip in the season.
Yeah, I think experience is key, and I think maybe why Salford aren't necessarily well, they might be having I don't know. I mean, they seem to have gelled quite well this season, but obviously they haven't been in this situation together as a team before. Obviously last season they went up pretty easily, and everyone sort of there's a lot of expectation now because of the money spent, and I think for the younger players and players maybe who haven't been in those situations, it is quite a difficult thing to adapt to. I mean, even looking at the playoffs are quite tight still as well, but I think the frustrating thing about the National League is the sort of difference in games people have. So like Barnet, I know this is down at the bottom, but 5 games in hand. You've got people who have 2 games in hand, 2 games over, and I don't know if that can really that seems to be able to kill momentum for teams, because if you win the games is available, but then you're thinking, oh, we're in this position, but it's not really factual at that point, because so many teams could overtake you if they get their running correctly. I've babbled on for a bit there, that didn't really make much sense. But anyways, we'll move on to the bottom of the table, because it is looking very tight now. Chesterfield, now with a new striker, Scott Bowden, recently from Gateshead. They seem to have done alright at the weekend. They got a good result, they won, but as well as obviously the crazy result for Braintree and Maidenhead, and a respectable draw for Maidstone against Fylde as well. It now leaves a gap for 2 points between 21st and 16th. So James, can you see any of the teams above that going down, or do you think it's just going to be between those people now?
You'd think it would be just amongst that group. I mean, famous last words. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it, because you've got sort of obviously Braintree and Maidstone, who are on 25 and 26 points respectively, also both having played 32 games, so they're pretty much up with everyone else on games. So they're not like, as you were saying with Barnet, it's I think that is a good point you make with games in hand and stuff at this stage of the season, because I can imagine it's almost semi-frustrating for us looking at it, because you're not quite sure how much of a realistic picture it paints, but you can only imagine sort of what it's like for the fans, really. And it's even the case with one game in hand with teams in different scenarios, and it's and obviously having 5, you'd think Barnet probably, you'd expect to see them more probably up around mid-table than sort of floating around a potential relegation battle because of their points total on only 27 games. So I think you probably are looking at sort of Halifax down, perhaps accepting Barnet, and but again, it's still that stage of the season where if teams can peak at the right time and put a really good run together, then potentially other sides could get dragged into it. But I think for now, the likes of Jeff Stelling's heart rate should be in sort of safe sort of hands, so to speak. So hopefully no more worries for him. So I think you're probably looking 16th, Halifax down, but again, it can still change if sort of someone goes on a couple of sides go on a ridiculous run of form.
Well, I mean, we're talking about Salford going on a bit of a bad run and just needing a win, but I think confidence down the bottom means just as much. I mean, look at Dover. I mean, I've said about 6 times in one sentence. Last week they played Gateshead at home, 1-0 up, 11 minutes left, conceded 1 and then 1 right at the death as well, and then this week 2-1 up, and then again losing last minute goals. I don't know whether it's a confidence thing. I don't think it's complacency because of where they are on the table, but it shows you how vital it is to be able to just hold on and just scrape through these results. I mean, now they're 2 games over Chesterfield, and they're out on 33, so they're one of the teams who've played the most. So Jake, how can you see them getting out of this situation now?
Sides like this, when they're getting into these winning positions in matches, they've got to just pull through and get these results, even if it's salvaging a point in some cases. It's almost like Dover, in the cases that you've mentioned, they just shoot themselves in the foot almost sealing their own relegation. Like, as soon as you have a look at Braintree getting a little bit of form, sides below them, like Aldershot and Maidstone aren't on form at the moment, so they're kind of lucky in that respect. But sides above them are, so it's going to be a gap which is going to widen as we have a look at the season going on. And Dover aren't looking so good at the moment, it appears.
Yeah, I think there's a few teams down there, but Braintree getting a win, and I know they're sort of stuck bottom right now, but there's always a chance of revival. I think they've got, what's that, 14 games left of the season.
Yeah.
I think once everyone matches up on games, and then you look at form in the correct manner, then without any I think sometimes the benefit of not having an FA Trophy game really does help, but especially if you've got something to play for. But again, we've seen Salford slip up to Maidstone, and that could be a bonus for Maidstone at the bottom, couldn't it? I mean, winning 3-0 against Salford, you'd think now they've looked at, I mean, I don't know if Salford have a full strength team, but you'd look at that game and think, well, we've just kept a clean sheet and scored 3 against one of the best sides in the table. So Harvey, I think, how much do you think that'll help their momentum?
Well, I think it's difficult to judge just from like a singular fixture, but they have, like you say, keeping a clean sheet against a side of that stature. You're thinking, all right, this gives us a chance to, well, stature, I know it's still National League, but like in comparison to where they are,
That sort of reputation, isn't it?
yeah, because they've had so much hype around them this season. Whereas at the other end, you're struggling. A clean sheet against a team like that can give you so much hope. But I think it's interesting how we look at it at the bottom and the top of the table. Whereas, so say there's like a 6-point difference, like the 6 points adrift at the bottom of the table, and even at this stage of the season, you're going, eesh, like it's 6 points, like. But if you're looking at this at the opposite end, you're like, the 4th place, the 6 points off second. They're like, yeah, they can catch that. Because I think when you're at the top of the table, it's more a chance to win games. When you're at the bottom of the table, it's more a chance for you to lose games. And it's difficult to look at them with them games coming up. It's about beating teams around you. It is about beating teams around you, and they've got a great opportunity to do that in the next few weeks, because they play in 3 of the next 4 games: Aldershot, Dover, and Chesterfield. 2 of those being at home. Like the next game's against Eastleigh, and Eastleigh they're doing fairly well for themselves, but I think Braintree can really start to put, if they can put a run together in those games against teams around them. But equally, Aldershot, Dover, and Chesterfield will look at those games like, right, if we're going to stay up, this is where we need to pick up 3 points against Braintree. But Braintree can't be afraid of that. Braintree have got to go in with the same mentality of, sorry, my black nose getting in the way there of my speech. Of my inspirational speech to all Braintree players who definitely listen to this podcast, but to go on and push on against those teams, and that's where you have to take the game to them. Because you can afford to maybe play the counter and maybe sit off against much stronger opposition, but against the teams around you, this is where you need to get in the face, and if you are going to stay up, you need to beat them. You need to beat them. Like if they get 6 points out of those 3 games, I think they'll be very happy. And I think that should be what they should be aiming for, at least.
Yeah, I think you've got to just take it sort of one game at a time when you're down the bottom, just to see from the momentum and confidence to pick it up. So guys, we'll move on because we've discussed the league quite a bit. So what has been your game of the week? We'll start with Jake. I'll go to you first. I was just going to leave it at no names.
We'll start with
Mystery Man. And my game of the week comes from top of the table, Solihull Moors. They won 1-0 away to Ebbsfleet in what was, I'd say, the main total points from the game. It wasn't that Solihull Moors at top, although that's a very big angle. It wasn't that Yusuf secured the win in the 51st minute with a goal. It's not that at all. It's the 4 red cards that came in the 90th minute. We'll talk about it before the podcast. It's just bizarre, isn't it? I think James said, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but all I needed was a bit of Benny Hill music. It was perfect. It was
perfect.
Quite pathetic, like scenes like that. You know, it isn't stuff that you want to see. People could argue it shows they've got a fighting mentality. You know what I mean? They're fighting for every win. every scalp they can get. But
Say it's not what they want to see, but if you were like scrolling through Twitter
oh,
and you saw a video saying, oh, highlights 4 red cards, or there was just or it was just like, oh, Blackpool 2, Gillingham 1, which one are you gonna watch? Like
well, exactly. It does bring a bit of attention.
It's a draw to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like,
not condoning this behaviour, by the way.
No.
I was gonna say,
I think we might be, but we're not really.
We'll put a disclaimer, like the non-league podcast does not condone violence, but if you go for it, we're not going to stop you.
Thumbs down.
I'm not going to get in front of a load of big national league players.
I haven't seen the red cards, but obviously, if they're if it's just sort of 50-50s and they've went in a bit strong, didn't mean to, it's fair enough. But if they've just went in and just really went to break someone's legs or went to cause harm, I think that maybe shows the opposite and maybe a side of giving up or like frustration at the end again, which is obviously it is hard if you're getting frustrated. But I think sometimes the patience at the end of the game, you just gotta wait it out, and sometimes you know you're not gonna win, or sometimes you know you're not gonna get results. So you've just gotta keep your head. And keep
I
it
think it's just a bit of like both teams. Obviously, it's happened off a kind of a rough tackle, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was, from what I saw on the video, it's like a heavyish challenge, and then just seemed to sort of look relatively
obviously
normal,
like the
just
other
escalated.
team's gonna react to that, but just don't rise to it. You know what I mean? Just don't rise to it. It's gonna be 4 red cards and that. It's just not good for them, obviously, because they probably lost a couple of key players going into what has been a good run for them. They obviously wanting to press on, try, if anything, to try and solidify their place at the top of the table. So it's not gonna help them one bit.
What are you guys whispering about? I could just see it in the background.
No, I'm just letting James know my game, just in case he's got the same one. That's all.
James has got
I can see a
the
clash.
Uno card.
All right, so we'll start with Harvey.
Mine comes from the northeast because I don't forget where we come from. Even though I don't come from here, but this podcast does. Yeah. So it's Jake and Ben come from here, but the podcast does, so I come from here now. Hartlepool drawing 1-1 with Leyton Orient. The result which allowed, as well as Solihull, which allowed Solihull to take that top spot with their win on Tuesday at Aldershot. Joby McAnuff put Leyton Orient in the lead after about 22 minutes or so, and it was, you'd think after that it'd be a routine win for Leyton Orient, but Hartlepool equalised deep into stoppage time. Nike Kabamba, apologies.
Sounds nice to say.
Yeah, Kabamba on loan, getting I think it's his 4th goal since arriving on loan.
Rings a bell.
And I just think that's a big result for Hartlepool. It's a good statement for them because they beat Braintree a couple of weeks ago, and under Craig Hignett they've gone 2 games and they've not lost, which I know isn't like their greatest statement, like, oh, they've not lost, but with the turbulent times at Hartlepool at the minute, the owner frustrated with the investment he's putting in and not seeing the results back, seemed to show quite resentment, and the fans showing resentment to management. The whole Richard Money saga that we discussed last time on the podcast, with plenty of batterings going about in a chip shop, but not what you'd expect. No, there was no violence. There was just verbals. I think, as football ultras call it, it was all about the verbals. Like, I sound like a real football ultra, don't I? But no, I think it's a big result for Hartlepool. Because they just need to solidify themselves this season. Look, they're not going to go down, they're not going to go up, but it's about riding the wave until the end of the season. But if they can scalp a few of the top sides, then it'll give them positive feelings about next campaign. And like James said, I don't think Jeff Stelling has much to worry about. I think he's just going to have a boring end to the season, so I don't think he'll regret not being at Victoria Park most Saturdays for the time being.
I was going to say, you mentioning Joey McAnuff has just taken away one of my quiz questions.
What?
It's fine, I've got to back up. I was going to say...
Well, you didn't have to say that. Like, it could have still been a question. You could have just not told us.
It's fine, I've got a different question in my head anyways.
But one thing I do want to say, Leyton Orient, despite that draw, have produced the best announcement video in the history of announcement videos.
What have they done?
Brilliant.
Jay Simpson, I popped it in group chat, it's unreal. They have done Jay Simpson re-sign. It's a big re-signing for them. He's a quality player for that division. They have photoshopped his face over all the Simpsons characters in the opening titles to The Simpsons. Unreal. Wrote his face over Bart Simpson, right, I will not eat things for money. Him being popped out of a carrier bag when he is both simultaneously Marge and Maggie. It is unreal, and I just have to props to Leighton Orient's Twitter admin for that or video editor. I think they've had that signing in the pipelines for about 3 weeks. It's just took so long to finish this video they couldn't announce it. He probably could have played on Saturday.
I was gonna say he's been sat on the bed, like in the reserves, just going, when it happens, like just give us 2 weeks, just give us 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're nearly done.
Right, okay, we'll move on to the final game of the week before we go into the players. James?
I'm going to go purely just on like scoreline and go for Dover versus Harrogate, which finished 3-2 to Harrogate. They took the lead 6th minute, but Dover then, who just double check the table there, they're obviously in the relegation battle, down in 21st, so currently the sort of final or highest relegation spot, if that makes sense. And so it looked like they were going to come back for a sort of valuable victory on the 81st minute when Jay Reason put them in front, but then, or Reason, I should say.
Wait, can I make a pun? Sorry, guys.
Can I make a pun?
I was going to say, before you mentioned the name, I was going to say, at that point they thought they had no reason to be upset.
That is.
You're not hosting next week.
in fairness,
in the morning.
It's a shame they didn't win, because that would have just been like, I mean, that makes life easy for the journos there, doesn't it? That sort of that kind of if that turns out to be the winner. But no, Mark Beck, 84th minute, equalises for Harrogate, and then George.
Stop.
That was better. That actually, I think that was good.
I'm not a fan.
It was a very modest pun. Modest as a player who came on for Dover.
Can you do anything with George Thompson? That's the question.
I mean, to be fair, looking at these names, there is pun potential in a fair few of them.
I'm gonna look at the start line. Sorry, James.
No,
I completely interrupted you.
George Thompson scored winner 92nd minute. So Dover had a potentially valuable win snatched away from them. But I would have quite liked to have been reporting on that actually, because that would have just made life easy from a headline perspective.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, clearly an entertaining one, but obviously shame for Dover that they couldn't quite hold out for the win. And Harrogate obviously sort of kept themselves in reasonable contention for kept themselves in the playoff places with that victory. So excellent character on their part, because that would have been deflating to go 2-1 down so late, and then to sort of re kind of gather themselves and go on to win.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have any more puns before we move on?
Oh, for God's sake.
just want to get them all out of the way before.
That game was a brundle of joy.
Oh, alright, I like it.
Oh, that's good. I
do have just the lineups in front of me now, and I'm just.
Yeah, no, I have. I can't think of any more. I mean, if you come up with any more, please do interrupt, because I do like a good pun or two.
I did mean to mention Zagadou, who plays for Dortmund, was getting a lot of love just for that reason last night. His name fits into songs very conveniently.
Right, okay, we'll move on to the players of the week. We'll start with Harvey this time. We'll switch it up.
One more. Sorry, I just found a pun.
Go for it.
Harrogate threw everything but the kitchen sink. That's it. Anyway, Kitching is not my player of the week. That is Nathan Blissett, who on Tuesday night bagged a hat-trick to send Solihull Moors top of the league at Aldershot. He's recently arrived from Macclesfield in the January transfer window. He scored 6 goals, obviously 3 of those being just on Tuesday night. But yeah, six goals in just I think 9 appearances. Not a bad return at all for Nathan Blissett, centre forward. And with him and Yusuf up top will do wonders for Solihull going forward.
The bliss.
Right, maybe we need a pun cap next week. Do you know, like Premier League want a salary cap? People want the Premier League clubs to have like a salary cap, so it's not just the top 6 clubs every year. I think we should have a pun cap next week.
Or like the equivalent of a swear jar for it. Or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we can do. We can get a better studio. But no, Nathan Blissett, I think, great performance. I don't think much more needs to be said than a very impressive hat-trick for a very impressive team.
Moving on, James, go for it.
I am going slightly off the cuff, but I'm going to go on sort of similar theme. Mark Beck, who just scored twice in that win for Harrogate Town, and has vague sort of pump potential, as it was put. But obviously popped up with very important goals at either end of the match, 6th minute and then 84th, putting them in front and then equalising. So obviously his goals were very much the foundation that they built on to go on and get that win. So
You could say that performance from Beck is what dreams were made of. Dreams is a song by the artist Beck.
Oh, you see, as a thinker that was.
now that's got levels to it.
Won a few Grammys the other night, did Beck.
Oh.
So he won a couple of Grammys. He's been on form. Scoring 2 for Harrogate at the weekend, and then going on to win some Grammys.
Get some Grammys on the side of his goal scoring performance.
That's multitasking on a different. Well, it's not really multitasking.
You see his manager presenting with the Grammys.
He's clearly not at Loser, which is his most streamed song on Spotify. Sorry, I'll let you get on with it now. I'll show up.
Such a knowledge of this person called Beck.
Trust
Go
me
on,
that.
Jake.
Right, so my player of the week comes from Braintree, who are on their very own Great Escape. Well, it seems that they've got their very own Steve McQueen in Callum Morton.
It's good. It's getting good. I take back my cap idea.
Callum Morton got the winner for he got the winner for Braintree in their upset victory against Salford, which I've mentioned about 6 times now. So possibly what it is. But he also 2 games prior got the hat trick and 4-0 just drubbing of Barnet. He's only 19, but he seems to be getting the bull by the horns of this scruffy Braintree side, trying to just mine out of this hole that they're in at the moment, escape relegation, hopefully stay in the National League. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. It'll be interesting to see how his performances go for the rest of the season. But I'd also just like to add, all assuming that Leighton Orient get one of the promotion places, can we all agree on that?
Yeah, I'd say it's more than likely. Yeah.
I was going to go around the room quickly just to steal hosting duties for 30 seconds. Just in one word, what is the other team going to be? I reckon I've got quite a controversial wild card.
Are you going to me first?
Yeah.
Filed.
James, who do you think's going to get promoted with Leighton Orient?
I'll go. I'll go for Solly Moors.
Solly Moors, Ben?
I'm gonna go Wrexham because of the home form.
See, all of us have got different ones. Mine's Sutton.
Ooh. I think we should always put a fiver into a kitty, and if any of those come in, like right, sweep.
And we add in the funds from the.
Yeah. I'm tempted to put a tenner on file to go up.
With Sutton, their forms like it's just going along nicely, and also with that game in hand, if they win that, they put the pressure on the teams above them.
That game in hand's against Barnet as well.
Is it against Barnet? It puts the pressure on the teams in front of them a lot, and be interested to see how all that plays out for the rest of the season. See if my prediction goes horribly wrong or not. It'll probably be Salford which go up, to be fair.
Yeah. We're all wrong.
We've been
I think it sounds like we got something against Salford. That
we
clarify to any Salford fans that are listening or Man United fans that are bored on a Saturday when they're away. No, we don't have anything against Salford. It's just I'd much prefer another side go up.
And just going about Manchester United fans who are born on a Saturday, being Manchester United fans that are from Manchester.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah. Well, I mean, like Manchester United's not even in Manchester; it's in Salford. Yeah. So all Salford fans are just Man United fans that got bored. Sorry, Salford fans.
To be fair,
Man United fans.
The Gator Twitter account does say that it's like Newcastle and Sunderland on playing today, so popped out the Gator, which is true because the attendance against Havant and Waterlooville was 500, which is pretty shocking. But don't really blame them because they've been playing awful and they've got a striker who hasn't scored in 19, which is.
That's fair though, because like Newcastle is in like St James's Park is in Newcastle.
Oh, okay.
So people from Gateshead, go support Gateshead. But like Salford, it's like Man United are in Salford, so if you're from Salford, you're gonna support Man United, unless you're just growing up now as a kid and you're like, oh, City are better. I'll like go and support them instead. But like, I don't know, it's just Man United fans are bored, and I'm sorry.
Right, I'm gonna quickly. Do you think we should look at the fixtures next week, just quickly, before we do the quiz?
Oh, the quiz. Sorry, Salford. I just need to put an apology. I'm sorry, Salford fans. I didn't mean such a personal attack.
check for any standout games from this.
Right.
All
I
the three
think it
o'clock
might be an observation shared by a few
Salford
people.
Dover's
We should clip that bit out and put it on Twitter. Like people will go mad for that.
There's quite a lot of people playing from the top playing the bottom, which sounds really obvious, but I mean, like, right at the top is right at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mm.
See,
So you got
the
Salford,
Orioles.
Dover, Orient, was Maidenhead, Solihull, Barnet. Barnet should get out of that, but yeah, I think Gates are playing with Dagenham or Redbridge. I'm not gonna be there. Tuesday.
Thanks for clarifying.
Tuesday, sort of mid-table sort of games.
Boring,
Filed.
isn't it?
Well, there's no. There's
It's just like a plain slice of brown bread.
You think
then.
that, but
And
look at last week. Braintree turned up. Bam. Last minute goal. Lift them. Well, not off bottom, but they've got 1 minute now. They got 3 points. Should we do the quiz?
Yes, please.
Right.
I'm hungry.
Sorry.
I've not done one of these in a while.
well, that's because we haven't done one for 2 weeks because I got the reference. Right.
Just for everyone who's listening, Jake just it made a signal of injecting into his veins.
Yeah.
That's how much we
Not-
love
Something like that.
We're not advocating any sort of use of drugs here.
And we're not judging if you do.
Quiz.
I think just do quizzes, not drugs. That should be like our thing.
Do quiz, not whiz.
Right.
Wait.
Okay.
See, he gets it.
Or noises. Harvey, what's yours?
I'm trying to think of something. Partridge.
I thought you were going to say oh.
Jurassic Park.
Okay.
There's
James?
a new Partridge show starting soon, isn't there?
Oh, I can't wait.
Not to provide free
I
advertising.
cannot wait.
That's true.
It's
I will
now
always choose a partridge noise.
I follow their Twitter account.
I'm gonna go sort of. This isn't non-league, but LA. Hopefully
Okay.
topical.
Jake.
Keep it simple.
Okay. Won last year's FA trophy. Go for it.
Lincoln.
Wrong. You can't answer for the rest of
Yeah,
this.
I get it.
I feel like I really should know this.
It's, I'll give you as a clue now that Jake hasn't. It. You might not. You won't get this anyway. They aren't actually in the conference.
I would get
Jurassic Park.
Cool.
York.
No. I feel like this is actually quite a hard question.
Oh.
Why would I do this every time I do a quiz?
No, to be fair, we should know this. If we're doing a National League podcast, we should know who won the FA Trophy last season.
It's like revision though.
I hardly know how to spell National League. Never mind.
Jake, James.
I'll chip
Anyone
in.
else beginning with J?
Good heavens.
If they LA.
I mean, just
I'm sure I heard it somewhere.
He's on
well, I
penalties.
should know.
I don't think that helped, but
I'll take a punt and say it wasn't. I don't think, but Hebburn.
incorrect, unfortunately.
Wait,
right.
was it? This is going to make me look a muggy even more if it wasn't, but it was Chester.
It wasn't.
That's alright then.
I tell you what.
No.
Do
Can I name a team that was in the final with them, but like that I don't get a point for it? Were Blythe Spartans in the final?
They weren't, but both teams do start with a B.
Should we just keep guessing, like, just for
Uh,
fun's sake?
okay,
Without
I mean, are we doing points anymore? I mean, I know I'm meant to be the host, but
After
Nah.
this
To
question,
do
I
reduced
think-
points or
I think we've all got it wrong, but just tell us.
it
I'm
was
not going to get it.
Brackley Town.
Ah.
They won on penalties against Bromley.
you can brack off with that terrible question.
I don't know if I was there.
1-1 after extra time. Brackley actually scored in the 96th minute with an own goal
Oh.
to send it to extra time.
We're here for the good questions. Let's go.
Right, okay. next question. Like this is gonna be closest gets one, but if you get it bang on, you get 2 points.
Right, okay.
I'll go.
So we just
I'll
say
go
it
in
was-
order,
yeah,
because
yeah.
then
Go
you
on,
can
then.
guess. So, the FA Vars, historic to the local teams. How many times has Wickham, my official local team, how many times have they won it? We'll go from Harvey. Blowing the mic.
3.
James.
I'll go 2.
Jake.
1.
Jake is correct.
Oh. So he's got 2 points.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Again.
Puts him
it's-
well in the lead.
Again, it's a. Oh, what was that?
My ring.
Oh. Okay. Again, it's a numbers one, but we'll go from Jake onwards down. Obviously, you won't be able to see this, but Jake, and then Harvey. How many draws were there in the National League at the weekend?
No.
You don't have to make a noise, you idiot.
6.
Okay, James.
In the National
Yeah.
League, go 2.
Harvey.
5.
What did you say, Jake?
6. Give me it.
He said 5.
Me.
Closest.
We're at 4.
Yeah.
No.
So Harvey's got more. That
1
wasn't
point.
really. That was such an anti-climax. No, so it's 2-1-0. James, can you put a point on the board?
It never happens. James
Good
always
question.
freezes
This
up in
is
these quizzes.
worrying.
I've gotten rid of the Joby McAnuff question, but I do have one in replacement, and I've got two.
What was the Joby McAnuff question?
It was.
about?
It was basically who was the ex Reading, West Ham and Watford winger who scored in the weekend for Leighton Orient,
Right. Okay.
which you would have got anyway.
I would have got as well.
I would've-
These are 2 local questions, but you've probably heard me talk about this before for one of them. So, Gateshead, last time they got a playoff final,
Aye.
right? There's 2 available points here.
Right, get on then.
He's not here to
1
mess
minus
about,
points.
he's Jake.
So, firstly, who won? Who were they playing against, and what was the score?
No.
Go for it.
They lost 1-0,
Incorrect.
but I can still guess who they played
Yeah,
against.
yeah. I'm just saying. You get obviously
Tranmere.
incorrect.
Jurassic Park.
Go for
I
it.
didn't even say that partridge like, but I just said it because I was excited. 2-1 to Newport.
First one correct. Second one not correct.
So I got the score, but I didn't get the team.
So you've got 1 point. So
Oh,
James,
James
it's
has a
down to
chance
you
at the
to
team.
guess the team.
Good heavens.
I'm sure I did a question on this before.
If you don't get this, I'll give a clue, and then it's up for you to
Time when I
grab, because
kept
you will be able
guessing
to get this
for
one.
every question.
Yeah.
They're still in the league. I'll give you that.
What, they're still in League 2?
In the league, yeah, I think so. Still in the league.
In the Football League?
Yeah, yeah.
I know who it is then.
Oh goodness.
Come on, James, get it so Jake don't pull away. Because he knows it now.
Indeed. To narrow the gap.
I don't know. Put such a face.
Blimey. I'll take. Blimey.
Build the suspense.
I feel like Jeremy Clarkson's staring me down. This
I will
feels like
will
millionaire.
force you 20 seconds to make a decision. Why have you picked up a phone?
Why did you pick up the emergency phone?
Did it say anything? Right, carry on. Carry on.
It's called an emergency phone for a reason.
It's just like a
Do you think I can phone a friend using that?
I'm looking at the left, right.
20, 19, 18, 17, 16.
I'm gonna have to pass. Put myself out of my misery.
Oh, right. The clue is this team are in League 2, but I don't know what I'm saying, but they are a London team. A London-based team.
Ah,
I can't even remember the score right now. It's been so long.
I really should be better at this.
I feel like I've talked about this before.
I'm trying to think I'm just trying to think of League 2
If you
teams.
don't get it this round,
My
I've got
mind's-
another clue.
My mind's going blank. League 2 teams in London.
Are they definitely League 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot search.
I'm not searching.
Oh, is he getting his phone out?
I will deduct a point for anyone. that checks.
Confiscate that mobile device.
Anyone
Oh,
want to take a guess? Oh my god, the mic is shaking.
Mm.
My god, it's so loud.
Sorry. It's just my frustration of should knowing this, and I'm just waiting for it to pop into my head.
It adds tension and builds. Oh my
Oh
god.
no, he's got it.
Go for it.
Swindon.
Incorrect. Are they even in London?
Swindon are nowhere near London.
You're out for this.
West Country, I think.
I think they are, yeah.
Right. Why is my mind going blank from like?
Blank.
I've
It's
got
going
blank.
blank.
I've got a team, but they've not like. I
I'll
just
be
my
real,
mind.
this
This
is bad.
isn't a guess, but my mind just keeps going to Stevenage, even though they're not been in the National League in years.
Who wants to take a guess?
It's not Stevenage. I know it's not Stevenage. Don't, because he's trying to play mind games. It's not gonna work. It's not. I know it's
I'm
not Stevenage.
I'm not going to give away the answer. I will give one more clue after this round. But
Wait, yeah, but
So-
until they've guessed.
I can't.
Just trying to think who's in League Two. Have they just been in League Two consistently since that point?
Yes.
Right.
Isn't a game of 21 questions?
Yeah, but literally, it's going to take like another 10 minutes to get this result.
It does.
This is
That's
poor
the way.
form. This is poor form. We should be really doing better than this.
Have James take the point or just have no point?
Have James do it.
Mercy point. Yeah. Gosh.
I don't know whether to give one of two clues in the next bit. Just
I
to
think
speed
you
it
should
up.
give us like another like 30 seconds, and if neither me or James does it, Jake gets brought back into the game. I think that'd be
and then I'll
fair.
give a clue. Right. Okay.
So you can see on the timer there when that gets to like 40 on.
No.
Oh.
25. Bring me back in at 25.
All right, 30. We'll
30,
compromise.
30.
Feels like countdown. Jurassic Park.
Go for it.
Stalling.
Crawley.
Deduct.
Incorrect.
Ah.
Right. You're all back in the game, and I don't know whether to give one of two clues here. 'Cause
Go on. Just two, and then
I'll give the first one, which shouldn't give it away as much.
I'll.
Former Gateshead player Ryan Donaldson scored in the final.
That helps.
Does nothing.
Do you want to, right? Okay. Second clue begins with a C. London.
Jurassic Park.
Go for it.
Cheltenham.
Incorrect.
Cheltenham's not even in London.
They are in League Two.
Hey!
though.
Oh! He's crumbled.
Bottled it.
Unless
Seen that
James
while
gets
Mind you,
coming up
I've
with
not
good
said
plastic
anything
bottle.
about all
What's the
this.
score?
So
3-2.
No, it's 2-1-0.
Yeah.
C. It's not
I'm just gonna look it up because I'm just gonna assume this is the last round. I'm not gonna say
It will
anything.
be, Harvey.
Well, not the last round, but like the last
We'll
bit of this
secure the
question.
win!
Because with this question's gone on for a while.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. If James gets this,
You're probably gonna hear a loud slap on the table in a minute when I find out who it is.
no, you will as well, because I feel like I have actually told you this before.
No, because I've included it in a question before. This is why I'm annoyed that I don't.
No, the only question that you included was like, what?
Oh,
Yeah.
How? How did I not know this?
I'm literally couldn't answer.
I am very disappointed with myself if you
James,
can't
if
tell
you-
listeners.
James, if you get this, it brings it back for you and Harvey. But if Jake gets it, unless we're double points for the last round, but I feel like it's unfair, Jake.
No, yeah, it's fine if you want to double points. I'll win by an even bigger margin.
Come on, James. I believe in you.
I can't remember him
Somewhere.
playing for Gator, but
Who, John Oster?
no, I do remember him playing. He plays in the
frustrating.
Could you give us the second letter of the C?
Could no, I don't know. No, I
Come
couldn't, because that's
on.
unfair on
Come
Harvey. Because
on.
Harvey's just guessed and he got it incorrect. I tell you what, I'll give you till 49. So you got 20.
I'm sure we spent a good 6 minutes on this question.
I'm waiting.
You'll kick. I don't know if you will, but I think.
I'm
definitely Harvey's
fuming.
kicked himself.
I'm fuming.
I'm waiting till 49. Come on. I'll play the patient.
It's not a
game.
buzzer beater. You don't have to get it last second. You can guess. You've only got 5 seconds.
5 seconds till what?
Till it runs out.
It's not Crew or Chorley or
No, incorrect. The answer is Cambridge.
Okay.
Cambridge United 2-1. Down London.
Jake's leaving. I understand. I feel the
Wait,
same.
Right, Jake, get back to
Jake, sit back down. You're still in the lead. Jake. Jake.
Jake has left the studio.
Bye, Jake. Does that mean I win?
By default, probably.
I mean, should we?
Oh my god! Wait. So apparently, I'm looking at Cambridge's last 9 years in the non-league. That was unbelievable. 12th, 17th, second loss.
Jake is just staring at us through the other studio. The module's booked that one. We're not allowed in there, Jake.
Harvey.
Even though they're not using it.
So the last 9 years they had in the non-league finished
Welcome
12th, 17th, second lost in playoff final, and then they went 10th, 17th, 9th, 14th, and then second promoted via playoff final.
That's mental.
They're
They're struggling this season as well.
Yeah, the 19th again. Right.
It's frustrating.
Final question because it's fun and it's a quiz.
Not that you'd
and it's a
believe it,
numbers
would it?
one, so it's the
Have you got-
closest one.
Have you got like a tiebreaker? Because if I get this, me and Jake are level.
I haven't, but I can make one up.
You can make one up. I'm gonna get anyway. So
And if James or Jake get this, Jake wins.
Okay. So South Shields went on an amazing winning run last year.
I did.
How many games was that winning run?
Are we going in order?
Closest point. But if Harvey gets bang on, he could turn it around. Or James can.
Oh, is it
level.
2 points for the if you get it bang on?
Yeah, but they
Alright. Where we start?
I'm
we start from
gonna tell
Jake.
you less than 50, but it's obviously double digits.
If I go first, just cut off my answer.
Is it just from last season, or did the unbeaten run carry on into this season as well?
I think it was just last season.
Give us the numbers.
It's just
It definitely ended
just-
last season. Wait, was it last season?
Unbeaten run, not winning run.
It was a winning run.
It was a winning run.
Right.
Right.
So which way we're working?
It was, sorry, I think it's 2016-17 because it ended in April.
Which way are we working? From me to Jake, or
We'll go James first, actually, because
James
we haven't
first.
really got James first.
I'll say 23.
Harvey.
25.
Jake.
40.
14. Harvey gets a point.
Oh,
It's a tiebreaker. It was 31.
Oh wow!
31.
Oh, 31 games.
Winning.
Yeah.
Match fixing.
I think that was in there.
Like Charlie Sheen.
They got promoted. Okay. That was way too loud. I'm like, yes.
We've been abusing these microphones today. But being this shambles of a studio, they deserve it.
A shambles of a question here.
Wait.
The emptiness, I'm sorry, this emptiness of the studio to the left of us has annoyed me so much. We've been in here for about over an hour. What time are we on? We've been in here for an hour and a half, right? That's been booked out from 9 o'clock till the start of this afternoon. Why is it not being used? I'm fuming. If Med 107 are listening to this, 108, sort it out. You've booked the studio. Use it. It's an inconvenience. We're in a rubbish studio because of you. This is going on a uni website. Sorry. No one's going to listen to it anyway. It's fine. Love you really, Med 108. One of my flatmates is in it. It's fine. I'm stalling while Ben finds a question. It's a bit hot in here.
Alright,
You know you've contained yourself more than Neil Warnock.
last season was 2017-18, right?
Yes.
Right, okay. So, I'm gonna say...
Say what? Say something.
I'm giving
Two.
up on
But that doesn't make sense.
you. Well,
If you're guessing if it's numbers, I want a nice solid question I can answer some thoughts.
you want knowledge based.
Oh, well, it says... Right, it says 4 teams went down, but I'm just gonna say 3 because one doesn't make sense. In my head. Because they're in the league now.
Okay.
That team's Braintree. I don't understand. They surely couldn't have got relegated. Then one might have came back up unless there was some sort of financial issue. But I don't want to question on that because it's too hard. So, 3 teams out and down in my head. Obviously, a point for each answer correct.
Oh.
Go for it.
Torquay.
Incorrect.
Jurassic Park.
Go for it.
Woking.
Nope.
What? Last season from the National League.
Doesn't say. That's what it doesn't say there.
Well, they were in the National League last season and they're not in it now.
And Braintree are there. But said they got
Have you got the right season up here, Ben?
Wait, it is 2017-18. Right. Look, 2017.
Look at the top. Who's at the top?
Macclesfield.
Oh right, I got it wrong. I got it wrong.
It must have
Never
been.
So is it the bottom four? Is Woking definitely not in the bottom four?
That's what I was thinking, but Braintree are in this season, but it said they've got relegated. So it must have been some
I'm
sort of
convinced that Woking went down last season.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, Braintree obviously went down. Right, so that was your guess.
So there's still 2 more teams to go.
Well,
yeah, there's still 3 teams, but
yeah,
whoever
yeah.
gets the most. He's on his phone. I don't like
Jake.
this.
Jake. Anyone who deducted point. Who guessed that was Harvey?
Yeah, I guess.
I tell you what, right? Okay, we're just like gonna exclude people being out for rounds because there's 3 teams and it's gonna take ages. And obviously, if it takes too long, we're just not gonna, because it's 55 minutes. So we're just not gonna.
See, I think York were the season before. They weren't last season. That weren't when they went down.
We need a tensionometer or something.
Yeah, I think we need a heart rate monitor for me and Jake right now.
If you don't get it within the next 20 seconds, I'm gonna give a hint for 2 of the teams.
The tension is killing me.
3 teams. No, I can't give it.
Wow.
Oh,
Ooh, just
York.
go. Correct.
York are one of them. Oh no. Jurassic Park,
Go for it.
Alfreton.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
So 2 teams left. Can I give the clue now? Can I give the clue?
Yeah.
So, one team has north in it, the other one has south in it.
What in the name?
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. Oh. That was Jake first.
North Ferriby.
Correct.
Damn it! That's what I was gonna guess. Jake.
There's
got
one
it.
more team.
Jake's got it though.
Has
hasn't
south in it.
South.
You might as well go for Pride.
he? No, they're in League One.
Gotta say the noise.
I don't know.
James?
Okay.
Do you want to take a guess? See if we can get a point. See if we get Jake a point. James?
You should not call him Liam.
Yeah. There was an excuse for that though with the
Hot
football
player.
They have south in their name. Alright, I just want him to get in the scoreboard, right? Because everyone else is
in what I kind of semi-switched off for the question. It's the
so this one,
They went down last year. They've got
National
South in the
League,
name.
yeah.
Right.
The second part of the name is a type of alcohol that you drink. It's usually Christmas time.
I was about to say sherry.
Southmore.
South Brandy. South Baileys.
South Champers.
South Smyrna.
South Fosters. I'm just gonna name alcohol.
Guys, do you want us to tell it?
South Bacardi.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you
Give us the
20 seconds.
The first letter of the alcohol.
literally P.
South Peroni.
South P.
I really should be.
South.
It's the beginning of a club in Sunderland. Something of call.
South Passion.
It's Southport.
South.
Oh, Southport. Right. See, I was thinking it was 2 separate words.
Right.
Oh right.
I was thinking it's 2 separate words.
Sorry.
I'm so annoyed about the North Therapy though, because I did
those
get it, and
clues
Jake
work,
just got
though.
there just
I can't-
before me.
I can't
South
even blame the
Peroni.
clues on that.
Peroni.
Okay, right, because we're running a bit.
Wait, hold
Long.
on. Was Woking? Where did Woking?
I'm
Was
gonna-
Woking in the National League last year? I just want to check.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have a look. Because that Braintree are in the National League now, but obviously it says they got relegated. Wikipedia's just been dodgy, I think.
Hold on, I'm checking this because I am certain. I know I'm being salty, but I am certain that Woking went down from the National League last year.
I'll have to walk to beat.
I'm giving Jake the win. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm not being that salty.
You're just revising.
I'm certain that they went down last season instead of Braintree.
Whilst you're looking at that, we're gonna ask what people are doing for the weekend before we go. Jake, we'll start with you. Go on.
Working.
Tell us what you're doing.
Working.
Again,
Yeah.
all the time.
Every weekend.
Football wise, anything?
Nothing, unfortunately.
So lovely. James?
I'm going to be down in Harvey's neck of the woods, actually, Sheffield, to cover the Bucks Nationals for the uni. Hopefully, I'll sort of cover.
Hopefully. I hope you do.
And yeah, might try and catch which FA Cup games are on telly this weekend? I know Chelsea United is
Not
on
us.
Monday
City and
night.
Newport.
Oh yeah, that'll be on. So I'll probably try and catch some of the cup games in between if I can. So trip
Cup games? No.
down to the Steel City.
So Harvey, Sheffield United are playing at home this weekend.
Yes, but I will not be going.
Oh, because your mum's came.
My mother is coming to visit for the weekend. Very
Nice.
much looking forward to it. And just to let you know, Woking were relegated last season from the conference, and I feel robbed.
Why? So why have Braintree been?
So,
sent down?
apparently,
How to this?
You're so wrong about this, it's unreal. Because in 2017-18, he did get one right. In 2017-18, the relegated sides, Macclesfield and Tranmere went up, the relegated sides were Chester, Guiseley, Torquay and Woking.
My guys, we were in there as well.
So, Jake said Torquay, I said Woking. You've made a shambles of this, Ben, I'm not going to lie. You've had a mare.
I have had that. I'm sorry, guys.
We
It's
were-
stupid Wikipedia.
We
Just
can
on
have
the
a
top-
Just why don't you just Google
Just on the topic-
2017-18 National League tables?
So I did, and it just came.
And just on the
up.
topic of sandwiches, because I've got some in my bag, it's time to wrap this up.
Oh, hold on a minute. Right, okay. So Wikipedia, I don't know why they had 2017-18 National League, which is a
Could we just
Wikipedia on
debate
that
this off there
page.
so I can eat.
Right, okay. No, I just want to get this point down. Wikipedia, I'm going to make a verbal complaint here.
The Google one says 21st was Woking, 22nd Torquay,
Don't believe
23rd
Wikipedia.
Chester, and 24th Guiseley.
Yeah, but it's
You've royally done this up, Ben.
The National League page on Wikipedia says for 17-18, and then it changes halfway through to see promotion relegation. It's like, oh, the teams in the 2016-17 division. Yeah, but I was on
So
the
you didn't
page
read
for
it
that.
properly. You didn't read. So it's not Wikipedia's fault. You didn't read it properly.
Right, we're
We
going to
can
end the
have a
podcast here. Clearly, people have been
Absolute
robbed in by
shambles.
we can have a post-podcast Steelers inquiry.
There's going to be a Neil Warnock style dressing down once
I
this recording
feel
ends.
like I'm going to get the hairdryer treatment
I'll take
after
on the
this.
jab roll.
So, I mean, to be fair, I think they have for the amount of times we've banged on the tables. So, anyways, we've added a bit of bass. Hope you enjoy the podcast, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, not with me hosting this time. Adios.